What's up, everybody? Welcome to another movie review. And if this is your first time joining my channel, please hit that subscribe button and that notification button if you want to be in touch with me on more movie review updates that I do and any short films that I am coming out with of my own. If you decide to check out my page, you'll see I also have some short films that I've created. That's something I'm into, independent short films. I am an actor, writer, producer, director. That's something that I do on my own time, on the side, with friends especially, and it's something that I would love to make a career out of myself as well. Make a career with as well, out of myself with as well. But thank you for joining me, and as always, I always appreciate it. And it means a lot that I'm able to create, whether it's a movie review or short films, and post it for anyone to see and enjoy it, whether they enjoy it or not. But it does mean a lot if you can hit that subscribe button, that notification button, and please definitely leave comments. Thank you for the last two movie reviews that I did get some comments finally, and it was great to be able to talk, to answer rather, or answer back to their comments, reply, and even check out one of the other pages from one of the people that had responded, and I checked out their movie review and I made a comment on theirs. So it's fun to be able to do that. That's all I want, to be able to just communicate and keep it, professional, keep it clean, keep it friendly. So thank you again for joining me today and watching it, and watching the rest of my stuff if you've watched it. And yeah, let's get straight to it. The Batman, what can I say? I really enjoyed that movie. I thought the cast was phenomenal. My main standout, I guess I would say, would be Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He was just unrecognizable, and just not only in look but also just his character. That's the beauty of acting. You're not yourself. You can portray to be somebody else. You put on an accent, you put on, you do these movements that you normally wouldn't do, and you just engross yourself in, being a new character, a new persona that you yourself are not. And that's what's great about acting. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman is my favorite Catwoman. Before her, it was Michelle Pfeiffer. Anne Hathaway was the closest, in accuracy to the comics of being Catwoman, but she still wasn't 100% accurate, and she never called herself Catwoman in the damn movie anyway, The Dark Knight Rises. So Zoe Kravitz still takes top spot for my favorite Catwoman. She's awesome, she's amazing, and yeah, I really enjoyed Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell, and Robert Pattinson as the Batman, Bruce Wayne. I'm not surprised that he did a great job. I think he was awesome, with the material he was given, especially being the Batman that he's supposed to be, year two. And it's a lot more darker and a different take on Bruce Wayne that we've seen. I would say it's probably closer in a way to Val Kilmer's Batman and Batman Forever, where you've got more of that darker, brooding-ish type of Bruce Wayne, but it still wasn't as dark as what we've seen in recent iterations. But I really enjoyed Robert Pattinson, and I'm looking forward to a sequel. I want to see the growth of his character, Bruce Wayne and Batman, because again, he's still brand new and in it. As far as the Nolan trilogy, as my cousin said, his Bruce Wayne, he was still pretty new, but he was just more skilled. And I say that because you just see more of his technology that was more thrown out there for the audience, with his wealth, of course. But also he was trained by Ra's al Ghul, and that group, I forget the name. But he was more trained, and so to me, I always felt like he was a veteran, even though he really wasn't a veteran. But this Bruce Wayne, he's brand new, and the Gotham, city, it just felt more like comic booky, and it reminded me of the Arkham City games, Arkham Origins, Arkham City, and Arkham Asylum, the games. I those games were awesome. I think I played all three and beat all three. It was four, actually, I believe. I didn't beat the fourth one. I think Origins was the one that was after the third one. I don't remember, but they're awesome games, and this is what the movie kind of reminds me of, that darker tone of Gotham City. And it was just great to see. Paul Dano, I haven't really seen much of him, and I know he's been around And from what I've heard, he's a really good actor, so I got to really see a film with him, and he did a great job as Riddler. I wish I was the Riddler. If there was any comic book character that I could play in Batman, it would be a villain, and Riddler would have been one of them. But of course, it's just a matter of being able to portray the roles. You get the material and you do the homework, and you figure out what you want to do with the character. So, would I have been able to do a great job that he did? Maybe not, but he was awesome, and it was great to finally see and get Riddler back on the big screen again, and get this version of Riddler, because as much as I enjoyed Jim Carrey in film, and I liked him as Riddler, I also disliked him in the role. And it's not really because it's his fault, it was more the writing. I hate the part when he's in, he's destroying the Batcave, and you have the baseball sound effect going on, he's winding up, and it's just I get it. He was a little bit in the older series, the TV show where he's a little more giggly and all very eccentric or so, but and I feel that's what Jim Carrey was emulating. I forget the actor, back in the days, I think it's the 60s, that old Batman TV show with Adam West. So just to get this darker version, and Paul Dano, I think he did a phenomenal job, and I would love to finally see if they show him again in any of the sequels, him in the suit, the Riddler suit. I want to see the Riddler suit. I don't want to see that mask with the glasses again. I get it, it's an origin, it's fine if that's how they're really doing it with him, but I want to see him with the suit. Catwoman, it really wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer suit or Anne Hathaway's type of suit. Only with the mask, that's really the only thing that was probably but it was pretty much close to Catwoman. And she had the whip. I think Anne Hathaway didn't have the whip, she had guns. And again, like I said, she never went by Catwoman, so she's not Catwoman to me, even though she's meant to be. But he did a great job, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, he was great as Gordon, just in the Nolan trilogy. I can't believe his name escapes me, and he's one of my favorite actors. I just had it right now, it'll come to me. Gary Oldman, there it is. He was great as Gordon, and Jeffrey Wright, another great Gordon. I just want to see. I know think he's coming out with a TV show, so I would like to see more of that. Just they think the Penguin is coming out with his own show, so these are characters that I was invested in and look forward to seeing more of, because the actors did a great job, and it's the tone of the film. It was just awesome. The fighting wasn't all that crazy, but I prefer it more than the Nolan trilogy, because the Nolan trilogy was more up close, and you just see the movements, and it's kind of similar, the Batman, I felt, but it was more you actually see it. And what I liked about the Batman, you kind of had the perspective of Batman, so that was pretty cool, that first person view. So that was awesome. I believe there was one take in the film where he's, towards the ending, he injects himself with something. I'm probably jumping ahead, and it looks like I in my mind I'm it's an adrenaline shot for him to get up and save Catwoman or so, or himself from getting off. But from what I'm reading, it's probably a prototype of the Venom, not symbiote, the Venom serum that Bane uses, right? Venom, I believe it's called Venom, that he uses, and that's how he gets all jacked up and big, in the comics, because it's green, and I didn't even think of that. So that's probably, an Easter egg there. We did get the Joker at the ending. It wasn't a post-credit scene, but it was towards the ending, and apparently they did shoot, and the actor is Druig from Eternals, I forget his name, but he apparently is cast as the Joker. He did do a scene apparently that was cut out with Robert Pattinson, but I'm glad they didn't add it, because I don't want to see the Joker again right away, save him. But we do get a glimpse of him, but he looked a little weird. I think the best Joker makeup was Heath Ledger's. This one, he just looks a little weird from what you could kind of make out, and I'm hearing you can see his teeth. And at one point, my friend and another person that was speaking to us was like, "You think that's Two-Face?" And I'm like, that's not Two-Face. I feel like if you're gonna introduce Two-Face, you have to introduce Harvey Dent first. Like you don't have to, but I just feel like, especially being year 2, it would just make sense that we have a Harvey Dent first. Let's build him up, and not in just in one movie like The Dark Knight. I want to see actual like Harvey Dent in a sequel as Harvey Dent. Like this guy, he's cool, he's a good guy, and then towards the ending, or even into the next one, he becomes Two-Face. So I don't want things to be rushed. Is what I'm getting at. But I'm glad that they just showed the Joker and implied him, because he does mention like they laugh at you or look at you like you're a clown. He says something along the lines, and he's laughing with the Riddler and the Arkham Asylum, and they're going back and forth laughing. And that's got to be the Joker, because why would you make that laughing a thing if it's not the Joker? But I will talk about the laugh, because the laugh wasn't very Jokery to me, but I'm sure he's the Joker. But if you know the new 52 Joker comic book, he's like, he has like his face is cut off, but it's on him, on his face. The face is cut off, but like he has it on him, but stretched, like it's being held back. I think that's the inspiration of the look they're going for this Joker. Just something to keep in mind. I'll probably post an image up, but I don't want to I try to avoid anything copyright, so we'll see if I post it up or not. But you can always look into it, New 52 Joker. Google it, you get the idea of what I'm talking about. But other than that, like John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, big role as well. He was awesome. John Turturro, I haven't seen him in anything recently, and I'm pretty sure he's done things. But it was good to see him in this role, and it fit him. And pretty much, I mean, the rest of the cast, everyone that was just did what they had to do. It was really good. Like I really enjoyed it. I guess my only gripe would be that it was too long. I felt like there was instances where I felt like, did we need that? Like, or it could have just ended right here, but it's just continuing. And you may think, but if you really enjoyed the movie, like you want more of it. And it's like, yeah, you do want more of it, but it's going to end, so it's like, just end already, if that makes sense. I might have been also tired in the beginning. I didn't not off because I went drinking with my friend prior, and I didn't really sleep, the day before. But I just felt like maybe it would have been too long. Like it didn't need to be 3 hours. But I'm not complaining. If it's 3 hours again for the sequel, it's whatever. But I really enjoyed it. Again, it's high on my list. As Catwoman is my favorite Catwoman. I choose that with Zoe Kravitz. As far as Penguin, we only got 2 iterations within the movieverse. I do like Colin Farrell's Penguin better, and it's more comic book accurate. Not that it matters, but I do like his version. As far as Batman, I don't think I've answered that yet. I'm a big fan of Keaton's. Never cared for Bale. Keaton is on my list. Pattinson, I can't really say. The others, George Clooney and Val Kilmer, they're definitely not number one. I didn't care for George Clooney as Batman. Val Kilmer, I like, but I think what suffers is the writing, not him. But I like where they were going with as far as like, the dark part of his, being Bruce Wayne and Batman. What really affected him, again. But that gets taken away because of the comedy aspect. But Keaton was definitely high on my list, and for me to have Pattinson included, I need to see more of him, a sequel. So we'll see. Also, the music score, it was awesome. I love the themes. I know the Nirvana song played twice. I think they could have just done it with the once, but they did it again later on in the film, and I don't know why I was a little bothered by that. I just felt like you could have done something else. I don't know. Just something about playing the music once again. Like you just I don't know. I don't know why I was a little peeved by that. Like I just felt like it was like, really, you couldn't really just add something else unique, and you have to go again with the theme that we've seen in the trailer and earlier in the film. I thought they could have just done without it again, but that was just the me thing. But overall, like the Batman, I really give it. It's really high on my list. I would put it at 10. Like I said, it's my favorite Batman movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with that world. And I want to see more villains in the sequel. Again, I don't want to see the Joker right away. I want to see Harvey Dent, but I don't want to see Two-Face right away. Rumors are they're thinking of doing Mr. Freeze. They should have introduced him before he becomes Mr. Freeze. If that's the case, I'm sure they're gonna introduce him pre Mr. Freeze. Before everything happens to him. I would assume they would show him before it actually does happen, or they just decide to just go away from that origin and have him already as Mr. Freeze and maybe flashbacks. But I would have just liked maybe an introduction, or even if it was like a newspaper clipping, Mr. Freeze, the science says blah blah blah, or an accident does happen to Mr. Freeze. Like, if that's the case, if we're not gonna get him before he becomes Mr. Freeze. But I would love to see the Mad Hatter. He's another villain who I would love to see. I think he works with this world, and if there's a villain that I would like to portray, if it isn't Scarecrow, isn't the Riddler, I would love to play the Mad Hatter. And I remember for an independent Batman project, I had inquired about being a villain for their role, for their film, and I had mentioned I would love to portray the Mad Hatter if there was something going, as far as if there was something to include the villain, that I would love to be a part of it. And they got back to me and it was like, yeah, we'll see, but that was like that never happened. And I thought it really was gonna happen, at least for as far as being able to be a part of that project. As far as what happened to that project, I'm not sure, but it seemed like it had potential for being an independent Batman project that for someone that just made for something that's not affiliated rather with the actual franchise owners and stuff, just fan made. But yeah, I think he would be cool to portray. Another villain that I would like to see in the film would be the ventriloquist. Now, I think they could play it off with the ventriloquist because they got Scarface, the dummy, but it's really the ventriloquist, controlling him because he has multiple personalities. I think that would be cool for this film. I think it would work. And he's also an orphan because Batman is an orphan in this world. The Riddler is also an orphan. So if they wanted to kind of portray or follow that orphan flow, they can use the ventriloquist. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be the main villain, but like they could utilize that. So I think that would be cool. But there's a lot of opportunities for throwing in new villains that we just haven't seen. I would love to see Clayface, even though he may be borderline weird I don't know how realistic they want to be, if they don't want to follow that aspect of Batman. I would like to see Bane again. I think he was teased with the shot that Batman gives himself in the film. But I want to see a comic accurate portrayal of Bane, not the one with Tom Hardy. And I like Tom Hardy, and I liked him as Bane in that film, but I want to see a more accurate version of Bane. So there's a lot of potential for villains, and we'll see what they do. We'll see what we get, especially the way it ended. There was a flooding that happened, so they had to rebuild Gotham again. So now there's probably going to be territories that different people are trying to take over or have taken over. So that might be a thing in the next film. I think it's called No Man's Land, which was a comic one that it might derive from, or that's the inspiration behind. So we'll see. But again, I love the Batman. I thought it was awesome. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. But what are you doing here? What are you doing here watching my review? Unless you're like me and you don't care and you like spoilers and you just want to get every little bit that you can get before you've seen the movie, because you haven't had the chance. So thank you for watching. And if you've seen it already and you've come to my channel, like any other, anyone else's channels that I've also watched, and you want to see other people's takes and my takes, and please give me your opinion. What did you think of it? And yeah, leave it in the comment below. Subscribe, hit that notification button. Again, keep the comments clean, keep it professional. Let's just have a conversation. And again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, later.